So there is this question going around whether you should buy it right now or hold on your buying decisions, because everything is so inflated and overpriced, and it really is. Everything is at its peak right now. If you're looking at the stock market, right? Every stock out there is way overpriced, way higher than it's ever been. If you look at the housing market is booming like crazy. So this is definitely a seller's market right now. If you're trying to sell your house, the best time to do that right now, because you can probably get much more for your house than you would have gotten, for example, last year. If you're trying to buy though, again, you're going to pay more because it's a seller's market. So buying is kind of tricky right now. Yes, the interest rates are low. However, the prices themselves are much higher. So that means kind of, lower interest rates, higher prices. Lower prices, higher interest rates. So in the end of the day, it kind of balances it out anyways. But I still think it's not the best time to buy right now. And the reason is, if you're trying to do a flip, the materials are also extremely expensive. So first of all, you're gonna buy a wrecked house, like a fixer-upper as they call it, and you're gonna pay more for it than what it's worth. For example, it's maybe worth 80,000, you're gonna pay 120. You just lost 40,000 right there. The materials are way overpriced. The thing that concerns me the most about overpriced materials is not that they're overpriced right now, but the fact that they're most likely going to stay up there and not go down after the pandemic goes away. That's the sad part. By the way, give me one of those, don't forget. And so what's gonna happen, you're gonna buy an overpriced wrecked house that you need to invest a bunch of money into, and instead of say spending 20,000 on repairs, you're gonna end up spending 40,000. So you overpaid 40,000 for the house and you overpaid another 20,000 for the actual materials and the repairs, so you're spending 60,000 more. So you actually need to be able to sell that house for like 200 in order to make some kind of profit, and that's pretty tough. But again, it looks really nice if you put in the right work, because this is an actual art. In order to do a flip, is like an art. You have to know exactly what you have to fix in a house in order for the value of the house to go up. So that's a cool topic for another video, so leave me a comment below if you would like to see one of those. What kind of repairs should you do in a flip in order to increase its value significantly? And we can look at a few options that way. Right now, anybody who is in sales, I think, is doing great, because again, it's a seller's market right now for everything. For cars as well, for houses, and for supplies, materials, everything. It is a seller's year. 2020 and 2021 so far have been the sales market for everything. Even for the stock market. People that understand something about stock market will tell you, don't buy anything right now in the stock market because it's way up there. Everything is way overpriced. It's eventually going to crash, it's going to go down. You know how the stock market always goes up and down like a roller coaster? Right now it's all the way up, and eventually it's going to drop down significantly, and you're going to lose all that money if you invest right now. Right now, people that are selling are making a lot of money. People that are buying, they're buying overpriced. Again, look at any stock out there. For example, Tesla. Tesla is worth like $600-700, anywhere between $500 to $800 on any given week. And just last year, around the same time last year, it was worth $200. So it went up by a few 100%. That should tell you something. If you have any understanding in numbers and finances in general, that should tell you something. Right now, I refrain from buying because it doesn't make sense. I'm gonna wait till it goes a bit lower. To buy or not to buy, right now, I personally don't think it's a good time to buy, but if you have something to sell, right now is a great time to sell. People buy everything. I noticed even before I moved, I tried to sell a couple of things that I'll never use again, like an older bicycle, some roller blades, old skates, hockey skates that I used to have, and people jump on them like this, real quick. Gardening stuff, people are doing gardening. This year is going to be huge for that because a lot of people are still going to be home, and hopefully the pandemic goes away. But even if it does, a lot of people are still going to be, I think, in the transition between getting new jobs. And it's going to be tough because after almost a whole year of being unemployed, it's going to be tough for a lot of people to go back to work because you get used to, staying at home and getting money that way. So I never been on the receiving end of the unemployment, and I'm thankful for that because, yeah, I didn't get to sit at home and get money for doing nothing, but at the same time I kept working, and I'd much rather be busy, keeping myself busy and keep working. I think I went a far way. I think I went a long way from last year up until where I am right now. First of all, I was able to move to Las Vegas for work, obtain a work visa, an investor visa. Throughout last year and this year, it was kind of work in progress. It took me about 5-6 months to work on that. my business, right? Opening a new business. Creating a YouTube channel was another thing that I started during the end of 2020, beginning of 2021. Some side hustles that I try to manage, but at the same time just trying to concentrate on one thing, on the business, because that's the main bread and butter, as they say. And the side hustles, I figured they just became a distraction more so than a profitable business, because there's one thing I learned, and it's a really, really great tip, and just for that tip alone, I think I deserve one of those, maybe two, but you can only give me one, so please do that, and it's free. Just like this advice that I'm going to give you. If you ever want to do something and you want to be really good at that, make sure you concentrate at that one thing. Give it your 100%, and if possible, even 200%. Because if you're going to spread your focus around too many things, you're just going to lose, you're going to do a little bit of here, you're going to be doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, all over the place, and that's what's called, jack of all trades, master of none. You can be decent at a lot of different things, and that's what we call a handyman. Right, you can be a handyman, you can do drywall, you can do ceilings, you can do lighting, you can do a little bit of plumbing, a little bit of AC, some maintenance, things like that. But this kind of work is always going to be underpaid versus someone who is an actual expert and a professional in a specific field. For example, if you're a handyman plumber, you're going to get paid like, $50 to $100 for a job just to fix it up a little bit, because you're not a professional and you're not licensed. But if you're a licensed and professional and experienced plumber, you can get, for the same job, you can get $500, $700 for that same thing, just because you're licensed and you actually train how to do it. And people have peace of mind when they work with a licensed person, because they know, first of all, they're going to get warranty reviews, second of all, the work is going to be done professionally, and they can sleep at night, right, knowing that they're not going to get flooded, because plumbing is important. Same thing with HVAC, same thing with car mechanics, builders, subcontractors, everything out there. If you want to be really good at something, just concentrate on that one thing and give it your best, give it your everything. If it's at all possible, do that, and you're going to thank yourself, because you're going to be really good at that. Right? Once I started investing myself fully into business rather than spreading into all over the place, now I have an office, I'm working from the office, I'm able to hire people, I'm able to train people, and I'm still learning. There is still a ton for me to learn, and it's going to be forever a learning process. I've dedicated myself to a lifelong improvement, self-development, and self-improvement, and I wish for you to make the same decision, because that decision is what makes a huge difference in your life in the end of the day. It's that versus just doing things that you hate. And even this, it's not easy, it's tough, because you have to force yourself in the beginning, and still up to this day, sometimes I have to force myself. It's with everything. Going to the gym, I recommend you go to the gym weekly. Doesn't have to be every day, doesn't have to be all the time, doesn't have to be for 5 hours a day. It can be even 20-30 minutes a day, but it has to be every week. It has to be consistent. If something is not being done consistently, it's kind of a waste. For example, you couldn't just eat sometimes, right, and then be okay the rest of the time. You're going to be hungry, eventually you're going to have problems. You can't just eat once a week and be okay. You have to eat consistently every day in order to continue functioning. It's the same thing with everything else. If you want to learn, you can't just read 1 page a month, or one book a month is good, but that means you're reading every day, or at least every week. 1 page a month doesn't do anything, right? 1 book a year doesn't do anything. A book a week or a book a month, that's the minimum. And I try to do that. And it's sometimes extremely hard, because you have to actually find the time. You're tired after a whole day at work. I'm investing myself into training people, making those videos once again, talking to customers. It's everything. I'm all over the place. And on top of that, I have to force myself to sit down, and instead of scrolling Instagram or Facebook or watching YouTube videos or movies, I actually sit down and I dedicate at least 30 minutes to an hour to read a little bit every day. And that goes a long way, and that allowed me to obtain knowledge that is now helping me build this business and help other people become their best selves, help myself become better. Because again, if you met me 10 years ago, that was a different me. Even 5 years ago, that was a different me. Now it is a whole different person. I'm more dedicated, I'm more focused, I know my goals, I have really specific goals in mind, and I'm working towards achieving those goals. 5-10 years ago, I had none of that. I was just working aimlessly, I was just working the 9 to 5 thing. I was coming home and I was watching movies, watching shows, throughout the rest of the evening. I did work out though. That's one thing I was pretty good at, because that was instilled in me since childhood, that working out and keeping yourself in shape is extremely important. And that stayed with me, and I'm thankful for that. I'm trying to keep that trend going, right? My goal is to continue this for the rest of my life. As long as I'm capable of, I'll continue working out. That's my goal personally, one of them. And if you can do that, if you can dedicate a little bit of time every week to work out, you're also going to see great benefits. Again, it has to be consistent. You can't work out for 1 month and then stop for another month. It has to be all the time, every month, every week. Doesn't have to be every day, but at least a couple times a week. I hope you really enjoy this to the point where you want to subscribe to me, and maybe share this video with your friends, or just save it, hit the like so it goes into your liked videos, and then you can watch it again to get some good points out of that. Please check out my other videos, because I'm trying to bring a lot of good information to the public by talking to you about sales, talking to you about business, how to run a business, how to have the right habits as well, just to make sure that you're becoming your best self. That's what this channel is all about, becoming your best self. That's my journey, a lifelong journey, and so I can work on this channel forever, because this is actually one of those things, believe it or not, but those videos, making those videos is a part of my self-improvement. For example, improve my videos by watching myself from the side, what I look like to others, and I'm trying to improve some habits. You know, I can't really change my face much. It is what it is. That's what I was born with, you know, but you either like it or you don't. And I had to come to terms with that. In the end of the day, you have to accept yourself for who you are. And a lot of people that are able to do that, they succeed, right? There are a lot of people out there that are not the prettiest people, but they are pretty successful because they just don't think about that negative stuff. They actually work towards going forward continuously, rather than obsessing over their imperfections, because nobody's perfect. Even the most beautiful person has some imperfections, something. They probably have that. Sometimes it's hidden, sometimes it's covered, but everybody has some kind of imperfections. And if you're one of those extremely perfect people, definitely leave a comment below so that we can applaud you for being perfect. Let's leave it at that. I wish everybody to be extremely successful, to work hard, to achieve your goals, and first of all to set your goals, and then of course to work towards achieving those goals. Anyways, I gotta finish this video because it's getting too long. I was planning for this to be an extremely short video, just with a lot of good tips, and I will see you in one of my other videos.